Mel Gibson has returned to the director's chair for the first time in over 8 years with Flight Risk. So this is of course the perfect time to reminisce on the highs and lows of Mel as a director. With that being said, today we're ranking all 6 of his movies. As controversial as Mel might be, there's no doubt he's made some phenomenal films over the course of the last 30 years. Alright, let's waste no more time and get right into it. Here is my ranking of Mel Gibson's directed movies. This shouldn't surprise anyone. Flight Risk is dead last on my list. It's the latest from Mel Gibson, and honestly, I have no idea why. I don't know why he made this. I don't know why Mark Wahlberg signed on. I don't understand why anyone involved was part of Flight Risk. From beginning to end, it's a predictable, poorly executed and written action movie with cheap humor and what looks like a decent amount of AI use too. I mean, they seriously deliver a total pile of crap here. I'm not kidding. I thought maybe we could be entertained, particularly by Mark Wahlberg, who plays an unhinged character, but no, instead it's really stupid. I doubt you've seen Flight Risk, and my recommendation would be to never watch it. At least Topher Grace is good, I guess. That's likely the only positive to take away from this one. For Flight Risk to be Mel Gibson's return to directing, though, is so disappointing. I'm curious what you all think of Braveheart. Is this a masterpiece, or is this just a bad movie disguised as something great? For me, I'm still on the fence about it. On one hand, it's a historical epic with memorable quotes and large-scale battles. On the other hand, it's incredibly historically inaccurate, too long, rushed in some areas, and just kind of weird. Like, some of the dialogue, while at times very quotable, comes off cringeworthy, and the sex scenes are uncomfortable. Look, ultimately, it's a cool film. Everyone will always remember Mel's speech before battle. But at the end of the day, I don't understand why this had to be so historically inaccurate. If you're going to make a movie like this, be a little more faithful to the story. Unfortunately, that really affects how I view Braveheart. So I have to put it in the bottom half of his directing filmography. I'll be honest, I didn't care at all about watching The Man Without a Face. I truly didn't want to, but I'm glad I did because this is actually a pretty damn good film. The first act might not grab your attention right away, however, once you get into the second and third acts, you become more invested. In the movie, Mel Gibson plays Mr. McCloud, a teacher who's now a recluse after suffering burns from an accident. On the other side of town, a young boy Charles wants to get into a military academy, but has to pass an entry exam first. So, Mr. McCloud begins tutoring Charles, and they develop what I consider a heartfelt friendship. This movie's story touched me on many levels. The performances are excellent, there's plenty of emotion, and it completely sticks to finale's landing. I'm so happy I watched The Man Without a Face after originally not having interest. I recommend you give it a shot too if you haven't yet. Real quick before we continue, be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like if you're enjoying this video so far. I went into Apocalypto expecting nothing special, but what I experienced was actually a really great movie. This takes place during the downfall of the Mayans, and one tribe in particular gets captured and brutalized by another for human sacrifice to save the Mayan culture from drought. The best part of Apocalypto, besides its extreme violence, is how it takes you 500 years back in time. Between the costumes, immaculate sets, such as the temples, and breathtaking shots throughout the jungle, Mel outdid himself. Plus, I unexpectedly cared about the characters. Our main hero, for example, was someone I found myself rooting for, and the film's main villain was great too. Even though neither character is fully fleshed out, what they did with them worked. So Apocalypto is a very entertaining period piece that has great action, incredible sets, and characters you can get behind. I've got to go with The Passion of the Christ at number 2. What's funny is how, this time, Mel actually aimed for an accurate depiction of Jesus' final hours before death, whereas Braveheart is very inaccurate in comparison. But that's why I love this film. It doesn't hold back. Up to this point, we had never seen a movie depict the death of Jesus in such brutal fashion. Probably never will again. But that's how it went down, and I don't see why Mel wouldn't go for the most accurate retelling of the story. Some have said this film is unnecessarily too violent. Okay, so would you rather them sugarcoat his death by making this PG-13? Those same people are the type who will watch a Saw movie and go nuts for the violence. So I don't get it. The Passion of the Christ, while hard to watch, gets the story right, and that's what matters to me most. Especially as someone who attended Catholic school for 12 plus years. But Hacksaw Ridge gets the #1 slot for Mel Gibson's director filmography. As much as I love The Passion of the Christ, Mel Gibson delivered what is one of the greatest war movies of all time in Hacksaw Ridge. What makes this film so good beyond the epic action sequences is the movie's first half, telling the story of Desmond Doss, a World War II medic who refused to carry a gun. The tale of Doss is inspiring, motivational, and will almost certainly break you down. A big reason why you connect the Doss' story is thanks to Andrew Garfield, who rightfully earned an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. In fact, the entire cast gives great performances, notably Hugo Weaving and Teresa Palmer too. Overall, the reason why Hacksaw Ridge is Mel Gibson's best movie is because it takes two different genres, action and drama, and hits on all cylinders. Alright, so that is my ranking of the 6 movies Mel Gibson has directed. Make sure to let me know your ranking in the comments. And of course, as always, thank you all so much for watching this ranking video. Again, if you haven't done so, click that subscribe button and hit like if you enjoyed yourself. I'll catch you all in the next one. See you then.